Caught my wife cheating twice in 6 years. I divorced her and am now happy with someone new, while she's stuck with her broke app in a house she can't afford. There is hope on the other side without your cheating partner. I've never posted my story in detail on here, but I'm hoping that maybe someone comes across it and finds hope that life goes on, as this sub has been invaluable to me. I caught my wife of 16 years cheating this past year. It was the second time she had cheated on me in 6 years. After the first time, we reconciled after she begged me to stay in the marriage. We had a tosh-year honeymoon phase where it felt like we were totally in love once again. However, she went back into her pattern of leaving herself available to any guy that showed even the slightest interest in her. Her affair this year detailed her flying a man she was talking to on the internet to a conference she was attending in another state, which I found out about immediately. In the aftermath, she indicated that the affair was over and that she wanted me to stay with her. We have 3 children, but I was torn as it had become clear this was a pattern, a cycle that could not be broken. In the month following that D-Day, I attempted to talk to her about the affair and my frustration with the whole situation. She responded with only gaslighting and blame shifting. Still, after a month, I told her that I agreed with her that we needed to save our marriage. She, however, responded this time with, "I can't make that decision with you right now." I spiraled. How could this woman who had cheated on me and then indicated she wanted to stay with me put me through this? Over the course of another month, I did my best to save our marriage, but she still didn't want to consider counseling or talk through our issues. It was one of the most depressive months of my entire life. I began talking with some friends and family about the situation, and their response was universally, "What on earth are you doing? Why are you trying to save a marriage that essentially has no hope?" As I spoke with them, I noticed a shift in myself. I started to change from, "I only want this woman," to, "You can find happiness without her," from "What about my kids?" to "Your kids will do better in an environment where you are happy than one with such an imbalance between the two parents." One night, it shot through me like a lightning bolt. "You need to ask for a divorce." I walked into our bedroom where she was watching TV and I said, "I want a divorce." She responded with, "Well, if that's what you want, I do want that." I was terrified I would regret my decision in the days following and come back to her on my knees pleading to save our marriage, but I didn't. Instead, what followed was actually a very amicable and agreeable split. Funny enough, our relationship near the end of our marriage was probably one of the best points in our marriage. I think it's because I just didn't care anymore. I didn't care how she felt about me as a partner. I wasn't going to let her determine my happiness anymore. In all, I kept the house because she couldn't afford it, but she found an apartment nearby. We agreed on literally everything in our divorce, so we were able to do a dissolution of our marriage, so we didn't have to do a knockdown, drag-out fight over every little thing. We have 50/50ths custody of our children. I'll give people going through this, or possibly about to go through this, some advice. If you can, and you live in a state where you can do a dissolution versus a contested divorce, do it. Absolutely talk to an attorney, but there's a lot of advice on here to get down in the muck and do a knockdown drag-out. But if you can come to a satisfying agreement between the parties, you need to do it. That said, always keep an attorney in your back pocket. Don't be afraid if you feel like your partner is being unfair, or there's an issue that you can't budge on, to use divorce to make sure you get what you want. But I can say, don't let the emotions of the affair make you feel like you need to use divorce to get revenge when you can likely come out much better on the other side if the process is amicable. I have started dating again, and I've actually met a woman that I really, really like. She is also someone who divorced due to an affair against her about 7 years ago. But most of all, there's no deceit with her. She and I share love languages and can be open and honest without the deceit that fed my marriage for so long. We're taking it one day at a time together, but this is the best I've felt about myself in a very, very long time. My kids have adjusted to the situation, and what I was terrified most about, that my kids would never adapt or feel resentful, are, in fact, thriving. Kids are way more adaptable than we give them credit for, but I'm just happy. I'm truly happy in a way I haven't felt. I make time for myself. I'm getting to travel more. I see my friends more often than I did when I was married. I get to make decisions for myself again. I've seen a counselor just to talk about this trauma in my life, and she has made me feel better, that I wasn't crazy, that I experienced gaslighting for so long that it's remarkable I could push through it. It may seem like you're in depths of despair in the aftermath of an affair. Believe me, I know it. It may even seem more depressing when you have to come to terms with your marriage ending. But happiness exists on the other side. But you have to let go. You have to take your life back. And once you make that decision, you have to put that part of you in a box. Take inventory and move on. Your ex-partner is now in a relationship with her old affair partner. Who cares? That's not your life anymore. Your ex-partner is broken, likely irreparably, and they aren't going to change. And you can't let their brokenness affect your happiness anymore. They can go to be broken, but not on your watch and not in your emotions and your heart. Happiness is out there, and you may not find it immediately, but you can prune back the dead leaves and relieve yourself of the dead weight that's dragging you down, because happiness you might find in a broken relationship with a broken person is just dead weight and is likely temporary and will always keep you from achieving fulfillment. Take care of yourself, friends. Hope and happiness are out there. Update 1. Sometimes I have to laugh at how they are all the same. It really is remarkable how similar the stories on here are, aren't they? I realize we all have our own experiences, and our reactions to the experiences are different and valid, but it's incredible just how exhaustingly formulaic these people can be. This is especially true if the cheater focused early on via a texting relationship. The cheater finds someone that they swear they are just friends with, almost always of the opposite sex. The text threads are just always the same. One of them drops a touch of an innuendo here or there, just testing the waters, because heaven forbid you just effing converse with someone instead of having to check to see if maybe there's some mutual sexual tension. After a while, the innuendo becomes joking between them, of course. A normal person in a committed relationship would have told the other person to F*** off, but we're not dealing with normal people here. Then the innuendo and joking turn to less joking and more actual digital flirting. Then, oops, here's a picture of me semi-nude, and then on to full nudes later. Oh, but when you confront them, they say something to the effect of, they're just a friend, but they are a friend that just really gets me. Any notion that perhaps something nefarious is afoot is met with gaslighting. When I was going round and round with my ex-wife and her multiple affairs that almost always began via texting, I had the nerve to ask her, why don't you just effing stop? Like, what is it about your brain that either tells you to joke about sex with another man, or if the man jokes about it first, keeps you from telling him to F*** off? Anyway, reading through stories on here just helps affirm to me that these are fundamentally broken people who, by and large, subscribe to the Hollywood tropes of what cheating is like. Just something on my mind this morning. The cheaters can't even be original enough in their cheating, and are also absolutely terrible at covering up their lies. Update 2. It's been a year. I realized it's been a year since my ex-spouse moved out of my house, and that this community helped me realize my marriage was overdue due to her infidelity. In late 2023, I figured you all deserved an update. TLDR on the affair. Wife cheated on me in 2018, we reconciled, and then she did it again in 2023. It's been a year since she moved out, and our divorce was finalized. First off, her and my relationship is fine. We share 3 children, so that part was never going to change. I couldn't just cut her out of my life, and I did want to make sure my kids didn't end up in therapy. Our relationship I would call good. We can communicate fine. We are able to ask each other for child coverage during work trips, hiccups in the schedule, etc. We have 50/50 custody, but I do pay child support. But otherwise, my relationship with her is friendly, but not a friendship. We live in New York, and her affair partner this last time lived in Georgia. While she continued this relationship, he left his child in Georgia with his ex to buy a house with her about 7 miles from where I live. They bought their house in December 2023. He lost his job in January 2024. I do not know why, but he did, and he is, as of this posting, still unemployed. Let me be clear in saying that my ex cannot afford the house they purchased on her own. She makes about $57,000 per year, and their house was $465,000. They took out a loan for $390,000. It's not my problem. It is, however, funny. Our friends have largely sided with me and alienated her because I was direct about what happened. Her affair partner, I have met him. The first time I met him, he wouldn't look at me, but I actually initiated it and shook his hand and said, his name, my name. I know you very well from all the pictures and texts you sent her name. Since then, anytime I've seen him, he does not look at me. I love it. Second off, my kids. Kids are great. They seem to not have a major issue with the split and do appreciate their time with each parent. However, when his kid comes to visit, he has to sleep in my daughter's room. She's 10, he's 5, and the first time they brought him up here, he was very scared and basically talked to my daughter all night. A note on this, literally, he moved away in December, he came to New York in January, landed on a plane, and 2 hours later was put in a house he's never been in a bed he's never slept in, with a girl he's never met, and expected to be fine. My daughter prefers my house in this situation because she says she can actually go to sleep. Lastly, me. I'm thriving. I live in our marital house because I could afford it and she couldn't, so I didn't have to move. She was also so effing eager to leave to the point where I got an excellent deal on the equity buyout and literally got all the furniture and belongings except one couch, one TV, her vanity, and that's basically it. I met a wonderful person that is truly just a breath of fresh air. She is a divorcee whose spouse also cheated on her, so she understands what I've gone through and is also adamantly against cheating or polyamory or whatever. My kids have really come to love her. She's a wonderful human being and a beautiful soul. She loves to cook with me. I did literally all the housework when I was married. She is motivated and driven, and she guided me through a very difficult time in my life because she had lived it. I hate that I pay child support, but I was able to negotiate a significant portion out of our state guidelines, so it's not terrible. I hate that I don't see my kids half the time, but I do appreciate the freedom that I get half the time. I've traveled more this past year than I have basically my entire life. I have many more vacations and getaways on my schedule. My recommendations to you: get therapy. I saw a therapist who helped me so much. I experienced so much "is this my fault? I was cheated on" syndrome, and she helped me understand how much it wasn't my fault. Do it. Even if you don't think you need it, do it. Move on. Get on with your life. Even if you miss your ex, move on. It's time. Do whatever that means to you. If that means dating, great. If that means doing nothing for a little bit, do it. Do the things that make you feel good. Take the trip you've always wanted to take. Go out with friends. Spend some money. Have a good time again. Don't run cover for them. Tell your friends why you broke up. Tell them about the affair. Tell them the details. Your ex doesn't get to control you anymore. Love yourself. You didn't cause them to cheat. Every single person has recourse if they are unhappy in a relationship. They can break up with you. They can divorce you. They don't have to cheat. They cheat because they are miserable humans, and if they do it once, they'll do it again. Have peace. That's my last bit of advice. Find peace with yourself and your life, however that might be. Be healthy. Be safe, be smart, but find peace however it takes. Things do get better. They will get better, but you have to let it. You have to move on, and you will thrive again. Update 3. A tip for betrayed spouses. If you're coming in here seeking advice, you may get a lot of "hire a lawyer" or "you should leave now" advice that seems very cliche and overstated. Let me share with you something. You will never get better terms on a divorce settlement than when your WS is in the affair fog, and you should take advantage of it. Our waywards are deluded into thinking they've found their new ever after, and they often are so eager to leave their marriage to be with their AP that they will do very dumb things to get out of the relationship as soon as possible. Me, personally, I kept the house, was able to get her to accept a lower home valuation and therefore lower buyout, which saved at least $45,000, and was also able to have us each keep our own retirements instead of a QDRO, which would have netted her at least another $50,000. I negotiated off child support to 35% under guidelines, with no alimony. It is no doubt difficult to make this decision, but when you hear people telling you to take the leap, it means you can also have excellent financial benefits to doing so. There is no better fog than an affair fog. Look out for yourselves. Don't worry about them. Edited to add, if you're a smart person who does their research, you can also convince them to not hire an attorney and do the dissolution representing yourselves. As long as you come to agreements on everything, no attorneys have to be involved, i.e., no one will be smart enough to tell them they are getting the raw end of the deal.